What goes on in this house has featured in the New York Times, Vogue magazine and the Southern Star. My favourite part of the house is the landing, but let's start with the front room. Will you tell me? Alice Halliday is a clothes designer and maker who transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary.
This was made from a curtain, which I got in the charity shop. It was already embroidered, but it had a few little stains on it which I couldn't get out, and I actually decided to cover them up with flowers. So I'm embellishing it with all these petals and little beads in the middle and a few sequins. And I haven't worked out what's going to go on the lining yet. I'll see, maybe something colourful to pick out these colours. That's the back.
Alice's most famous piece may be this.
A tablecloth. It's from my graduate collection. 10 friends probably helping me do all the beading, which took like over a month, I think, when we were working full on. And the edging, that's vintage Swarovski crystals.
Are they still your friends? These people you forced into the sweatshop.
They are, yes. I don't see them very often, but yeah, we're still in touch. My mum and my sister even helped me a bit as well. But we all kind of thought this would look amazing on Florence.
Florence is the singer, as in Florence and the Machine.
I was listening to her music at the time as well. It inspired me. It happened that it fitted in with her tour wardrobe at the time and the style that she was wearing, so she took it with her on tour. So that was really special, and it still seems like it was a dream in a way. It just
And is that no longer a tablecloth, or can you still see a tablecloth?
You could drape it on the table, I guess. Yeah. You could. You just have to be very careful you didn't get tea on it. But yeah, it cost £2 in a charity shop.
Okay.
And I just think that kind of started the whole tablecloth doily thing for me, because those are items that would be some of my favourite things to use still.
Alice gathers her various finds into her workshop.
Antique lace. Trimmings from the Indian garments. I love Indian style.
Sometimes she has a use in mind for what she picks up, and sometimes she waits for inspiration.
It can be inspired by a picture or an era. This was kind of Marie Antoinette style. Okay. But the materials usually direct me, so I kind of drape them and see what they kind of tell me what they want to do. My favourite film is The Sound of Music. I just loved the way Maria took the drapes from her room and made the kids play clothes out of them. That really inspired me. I think I was about 8 maybe. My mum taught me to sew Barbie clothes. Okay. Because she had some from the 70s. She had some of her old Barbies and little clothes that her and her sister had made with their mum, which I absolutely loved. And she showed me then how to make some Barbie clothes. So that's where it started, and I was 9 when I decided I wanted to be a fashion designer. Okay. I used to do fashion shows in the kitchen for my parents, dress up myself and my sister and our friends in scarves and vintage clothes. We had a lovely old suitcase with loads of stuff in it. And I invented this game called The Latest Fashion, where we'd take it in turns to leave the room, put on our clothes in different ways, so maybe like trousers as a jacket, top as a skirt, just create these wacky outfits and come back in and say this is the latest fashion and do a catwalk. So that kind of sparked the idea of using like other garments as well to make new things. Like I've made trousers from a shirt before, and kind of mixing things. This is just a scarf from charity shop, and it has a stretchiness to it anyway because it's all knitted. And I just basically made a hole for the neck and stitched up the sides. This is a little lacy collar that I got it from a wedding fair, I think. I can actually show you, this is my mum and my granny. So
great.
They were a big inspiration. That was before I was born. My granny lived in Devon, in this little seaside village called Kingswear. We used to go there on holidays, and she had like ottomans full of vintage clothes, things that she'd made. She had like drawers with old gloves in them, and just her wardrobes, you know, even things she hadn't made herself. There was like really cool dresses in the wardrobe, nice shoes, and I used to play dress up in them.
Alice runs classes on making accessories, and brides come to learn how to make their own crowns. Alice also thinks that dresses have a destiny.
It was meant to be a commission for a bride, and in the end she didn't go with it because she was living abroad and she couldn't come for fittings. She was a bit concerned about it. So in the end, she went with a more simple design. I always think there's a reason for that, you know, that it's for someone else maybe down the line. And I mean, this dress we've used in a wedding shoot, which was recently published, and the pictures were gorgeous. So, you know, it was perfect that I had the piece for that. It's actually an amazing...
And to the landing, where Alice has hung out 3 dresses.
These are my family heirloom pieces. This was my granny's wedding dress that she made for herself. It actually had a sleeve and a longer train at the back, so then she later reworked it into an evening dress. So she took the sleeve off and made it a little bit shorter at the back.
What is that material?
Yeah, brocade. I actually had a few remnants of the fabric as well because she'd altered it. So I used them on a skirt, which was really nice.
So this is a skirt?
This, my auntie made the skirt for her first wedding. So it's something similar to what I might do with doilies and bits of vintage lace. They're all patched together. So
it is a good reason to have several weddings, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's the back with the buttons there. And it's just, there's so much detail, and the pieces of lace are just exquisite, really.
What did she wear on top, do you know?
A blouse, like a silk cream blouse. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really inspiring that she made that for her wedding, my granny made that for her wedding, and this is my mum's wedding dress that she made. So she basically bought this petticoat in an antique market. I think it cost about £12 or something, and then she used this antique lace.
There was no way you could do anything but do what you do, considering this
all this
legacy.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Even I love the sleeve, that little
gorgeous.
cap sleeve. So beautiful. So she hand stitched all this lace onto it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, and airy, and it would have been really comfortable to wear. She even made a little sash with a blue ribbon with lace over the top for something blue.
Did she?
Yeah. I don't know where it's gone now, but it was a really nice combination, the yellow with the blue. Yeah, it worked really well.
And what did your poor dad wear? Dad
looked very dapper in a black suit with I think his tie was cool. It kind of had a little bit of yellow in the tie.
Oh, good.
And an ivory shirt, so that kind of tied in. Yeah, they looked very beautiful together.
Alice shares the house with her small son, who's also interested in design.
He loves building things with Lego and old bits of wood, or, you know, he's got a go-kart which him and his friend have literally transformed into so many different vehicles over the last couple of years. Yeah. They've attached bits of an old coffee table that I'd thrown out and made it into like a vintage car, and they've added on lights and all sorts of things. So he's very creative in that way. And he tells me as well, if something doesn't look good, you know, if I put something on and he says, no, that doesn't suit you, that's not your colour. Or,
good lad.
You know, I could ask his advice on design if I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
You know, do you prefer this or this? And he'll tell me, and I'll really trust his opinion because I think he's got a good eye.
Oh, that's good. Alice Halliday, designer, Skibbereen, County Cork.